Question: is Yam the new poison meta? Cancer lineup again. Shade responds with, don't assume that poison in Origins works the same way as it does now. Oh, it's almost as if I had a good idea that that was the case. Question: red is for damage, blue is for shield, and green is for, Shade responded with heal. Well, that one was pretty obvious, right? It seems like a bit of a wasted question. I guess if you were in the Axie space for too long, or Origins is your first exposure, it would make sense for that to be a question, so I take that back. I think Hatsune and Gravelant will change on launch. It doesn't make sense for two cards to have the same effect. Shade says, we know they are the same and that is intentional. There are some cards that are the same as well, but a pure plant with Hatsune is not the same as a 6 out of 7 plant with Gravelant, because the one with Gravelant won't be able to use the best charms because it has less purity. So this is important. This tells us two things. The power of the charms is relative to the Axie's purity. If you go into the marketplace, you can actually sort by purity, and you'll see there is a slider 0 to 6, 6 being the highest purity. He doesn't specify the level of purity in that instance. He's only referring to the 7 parts, being the 6 body parts and the Axie type. So if the Axie type is a plant and 6 of its dominant genes are all plant, we're assuming he is implying that the charms that the Axie can use are stronger the more pure the Axie is. This has some pretty big implications, saying that the Chop Suey Axies, the ones that are just randomly bred for the sake of breeding for energy, that result in very generic and mixed breeds, those Axies may not have as much utility come Origin. So that'll be important to remember when you're shopping for your Origins Axie team. Let's go to the next one. Is rock, paper, scissors still in effect in Origin? Shade said, nope, no more power-ups. The 15% class damage bonuses are gone. 0 bonus damage based off class. Question: then what's the point of classes now? There are class-specific runes and charms. Only Axies can use plant runes. I'm guessing there's, bird runes that are specific to the bird type. So I'm assuming there's going to be a list of runes that you can use, or charms that you can use on the Axie, or for the Axie, or for the team, based off the types that are in the team. So that means they may all be available off the bat, but the max level of those runes and charms cannot be attained by a less pure Axie. And he mentions that a little further down the line. Let's go into it. Why 7 out of 7, Shade? So body will have an effect. So like I was saying, body being 1 and the 6 out of 6 being the other 6 out of the 7. So the body is 1, and you get ears, eyes, mouth, tail, horns, and butt, right? I already said tail, butt. Sorry. Mouth, eyes, ears, horn, back, tail, body. 7, right? Question: will 7 out of 7, why does it matter? We count the body / class towards purity now. So that's why it's gone from 6 out of 6 to 7 out of 7. May I know about the card description of Red Ear? It just says target an ally. Is that it? Or it has missing info? I lost brain cells trying to read that. Shade: it applies the shield to the ally, so it can target things other than itself. So if it uses an attack, I'm guessing, that applies a shield, it'll go to the ally. Maybe that's specific just for Red Ear, but let's move on. Question: so just drawing Anemone will heal that Axie automatically? Shade says, yep. Add some cool new strategies around card draw. That's very interesting, and we might get into a Axie theory crafting video regarding that soon, because I think that in itself could be very powerful with Watermelon, because Watermelon has the same effect. So you could have a team of Watermelon, different card draw like Goldfish and Hero and Blue Moon, and then stuff like Anemone and Watermelons. So that could be really cool. Let's move on. Also on tail, I think Potato Leaf gonna be a good on a squishy Axie. If I think stealth can't be targeted while there are other Axie alive. Okay, so that's a mouthful. And I read that wrong and it was hard to read. It says, yep, good for support axes. The concept of front, mid, back is less important in Origin. Tank, support, carry will be more prominent. I'm going to read that again because this is pretty important to team building. Tank, support, carry will be more prominent. What that means is you need something with insanely high survivability. You need something with some heals and some card draw, maybe some stuns, stuff like Kingfisher or Snake Jar to keep your axies alive, and a carry, something that only has high damage cards on it and can just destroy your opponent's axies. Question. Read Yam, for instance, poisons every enemy for 0 energy. I think poison as a mechanic will be nerfed. Damage less often or lower damage. Shade says, don't assume that poison works the same way as it does now, like he did earlier. Question. Hi, what is the concept of turn in Origins? Shade. Turns work like a traditional card game. My turn ends when I do all the actions I want, then click end turn. That is one turn. That is one turn. Then the opponent plays cards and presses end turn. That is 2 turns. Cards don't count as turns. So, I don't know what that means for in terms of cute bunny and stuff. Sorry, my head's cut off. Really? Then apply fear for 4 turns is so OP. Overpowered. If fear has the same effect in Origin. And Shade said, don't assume any buff and debuff is the same as it is now. That's something to keep track of. Question. If I skip a turn, does the turn effect count as a turn? Shade says yes, but don't skip turns anymore. There wouldn't be a reason to. If you have a thing that replenishes every time from empty to full, why would you not empty it every single turn? Your cards get discarded. So why would you not use that refilling pool of energy that you can't save and those cards that you can't save every turn? So you're going to be using cards every single turn, just back and forth and back and forth. Let's go back. Question. Been thinking, are shield cards usable to self since it mentions the word ally? And we know that we aren't our own ally? Shade says, yes, you can target the Axie that is using it. So that's pretty important. So if something says target an ally, it just really means target an Axie of yours or a summon, I'm assuming. All right. Question. I think AoE poison is the next meta. Shade says, okay, there's other unrevealed mechanics to counter poison. We will reveal them with all the buffs and debuffs, curses, summons, all at a later date. Curses are a lot like Hot Butt when cards are put into your opponent's deck. Bleed, though, is a debuff. So I'm assuming this next leak will be all the buffs and debuffs, because I think the last thing they're going to reveal is the eyes and ears, and I think they'll reveal them in one big reveal. Maybe not, though. Maybe they'll drag it out over a couple weeks, but... Question. When the next card leak? Shade said next week. This is old news. Question. Will there be regional language in Origin? Shade. Has the team considered about it? Shade says, yeah, we're working on localizing Origin into more languages. Might not be for some time for alpha launch, though. They do plan on having the cards and stuff in other languages. They will work on that, but that takes a lot of time. Question. This will be a 6 out of 7 purity mech in Origin while sharing a picture of a mech Axie. He says, it's a bit more complicated than that, actually. He doesn't want to reveal too much yet because we haven't announced exactly how purity plays into it. But basically, higher purity lets you equip more and better charms. A 7 out of 7 Aqua will be able to equip a stronger combination of charms than a mech with 6 Aqua parts. So that is super important. A 7 out of 7 Aqua will be able to equip a stronger combination of charms than a mech with 6 Aqua parts. Okay, keep track of that when you're making your purchases. Question. Any word regarding the linear energy update? Shade says Green Ranger is actively working on this. I saw his post on Twitter. I actually left a comment on it. I think he's going to propose something to the community very soon. So hold your horses there. Question. Care to share the exact body / class? Does it mean Aqua Parts 6/6 then the body itself, or is it specific? Sumo Yak. Aqua body itself, then class basically. Question. Should I bother making my Axies reach level 25 before Origin? The answer to that is no. He says your Axies will remain the same level in V2, but Origins is a completely different game. So everyone will start from scratch. Everyone will start from scratch. It's going to be a race. The first person to unlock mystic charms and runes will dominate the leaderboard. Purities, maximizing for the amount of runes and charms you can use on a team, and leveling them up to their maximum capacity will be your best bet to doing well in Origins. All right, something very important, and there is one thing really important that Shade confirmed a few days ago. All Axies will have 320 HP. Read the rest of the article. I will leave it down in the description below. So what have we learned? Number one, the thing about HP was pretty solid, that it's going to be 320, but there could be runes, especially on the plant, dusk, and reptile side of things, that increase the Axie's HP. So if you have a rune and a charm, they both give you 10 HP, but you can level them up 5 times each, then that's 100 extra HP. And you can have 6 and 1, right? On each Axie. 6 charms, 1 rune per Axie. So if all of those gave 10 HP per level, that means you could have a fully loaded tank that could have an enormous amount of HP. So things like Shoalstar may not be that big of a threat because your tank may have 780 HP at the uppermost echelons on the ladder. So keep those in mind. So when you start Origin, even though this is not financial advice whatsoever, I strongly suggest you prioritize getting things that can have the maximum amount of runes and leveling them up as much as possible. This is not financial advice, but I think at the beginning of Origins, especially, you should prioritize things that can receive the most amount of runes, the highest level of runes, so you can maximize, because I'm assuming it'll be a parabolic scale. Level 1 only gives 10, level 2 would give 20, level 3 would give 30, 40, 50, it'd go up as the charms and runes got leveled up. Prioritizing purities, 7 out of 7, so you can maximize the runes and level them up as soon as physically possible, dumping all your SLP into them, getting them to max level, because I'm assuming we're going to have different levels, and the levels will be very similar to Axie rarity, or land rarity, or item rarity, where you have common, uncommon, rare, like epic, and mystic, whatever. So keep that in mind. Anyways, leave your comments down below, and I'll get to them if I can. Hit the like and subscribe button so you can get notifications for when we post the next video, so you could stay up to date on Axie Infinity. Thanks for watching, and good luck in your matches. I dropped out of the top 300,000, man. I lost a bunch of games. Good luck.